let's actually get back to what we were doing, which was casting. I think I seem to remember doing some of that earlier, but it's been so long that I'm not entirely sure.
A long time ago in a video game far, far away, we actually got to... Oh god, why is Eurus using the Pogo Commander?
He loves the Pogo Commander. It looks
Really?
ridiculous, but I always think of it as a microphone boom. You know, you've got like the long stand, and then it's the microphone boom commander. Now they're playing on the temple. Have you seen this map before?
No. Oh goodness, right out the bat we got ourselves a disconnect, so...
Although very interestingly, it was on the opposite side from Nosebreaker, so we can't blame this one on him.
Oh goodness, we can't talk to the chat. This is bad. Oh, and we got a message. Hang on a second. It's from that $100 price for the Rainbow Racers Grand Prix, I think. What? What? So apparently...
So, having been defeated, you know... Oh, I see, it's from Elite. I thought that Gandalf had sent you that message. I was going to say, having been defeated, has he decided to host a Rainbow Racers tournament right now? For everyone? Wow. What a guy. That would have been amazing. That isn't what happened, so, you know, nobody go sign up for that. Anyway, back to the actual plot, you know, back on the map. Now, this map, you haven't seen it before. I can tell you that all players will spawn around this this big watery area, this big watery puddle. Where would you imagine, you know, looking at this map from someone that's never seen it before, where would you imagine that these players would spawn? Like,
I would say give me like a quick second because I'm trying to find out what the stream delay timer is because apparently it's gotten to like 2 minutes, so that's never good. And I can't find it. So let's forget it and move on to the important thing called video games. So,
Back to
question
the
about the
stuff.
naval?
No, and it's too late anyway because the commanders are now spawning in. But just take a quick look at these starting spawns.
Oh my goodness.
Did you see anything wrong with this picture?
There seems to be a uneven spread of commanders here.
Yep. Now, I had a chance to play on this map for the first time earlier on, and was immediately accosted by two separate players, one in the water and one on land. And, of course, this was a little bit disconcerting. I was actually the last commander to die.
Oh, well, no big deal then.
Yeah, but despite that, I mean, everyone else was dead as well. Despite that, I stand by my original statement when I first played this map, which was bullshit. So, Gandalf needs to fix these spawns. I know that people say, yes, it changes up the meta, it's exciting, and blah, blah, blah. But in my opinion, at least, I know I've only played it once, but in my opinion, at least, there is only one meta here, and that's for two of the yellow players to gang up on the isolated white player, while the two white players gang up on the isolated yellow player.
This sucks. This.
Yep.
Oof. So then, would you almost want to say the best strategy would be to try and have the isolated player just super turtle, or maybe even just have at least on white side, just have all three just YOLO gang up on him. Have the isolated commander just go straight for try and yellow goes straight for white, and whichever one slips up, and effectively what I would want to say like a 2-minute straight comm box will, you know, win that section and kind of kill off a commander and guarantee at least one half of the planet.
Yeah. I would definitely say that, you know, whichever isolated player is attacked, it's not so much a strategy to turtle as it is a necessity, because if they want to continue to live, then they have no choice. So that's pretty much the way it works out. But getting back to what the players are doing rather than my woes on this map, of the one time that I intend to play it. You know, we're seeing, what is this? This is a single one of the white players, while two of the yellow players are moving into naval, but the white player has actually extended his naval dominance more than they have between the two of them, which is quite impressive. You also managed to take out quite a few fabas early on, using piranhas.
Piranhas are actually becoming a thing. This underwater sea dog, though. Oh no, it's dead. All right. So, moving on to the legitimate action, though, we do have a very strong tank push here coming out of yellow, and this commander going to have to fire his Uber if he wants to stop any damage from being taken. Looks like he doesn't care. I think this is G0hst. He's going to get the, yeah, this is G0hst. It's the Pogo commander, so, cleaning up some of these factories. Now, I'm very conflicted because I really want to think that White's idea or plan is to just try and gang up on this yellow commander, while what yellow is actually going to do is trying to attack the northern or closest commander that really doesn't have much. He does have naval, but it really isn't that much.
You may well be right. I mean, they've put White into a position here where originally, Jurist had built up more naval than his opponents, even between two of them expanding into naval. But due to that little sort of push in with tanks that he had to respond to with his commander, if he had any hope of surviving it, or at least keeping his buildings and his vital structures intact. During that time, Yellow has leaped ahead in the naval war and is now sort of building up unaccosted, while the other White player on the opposite side of the map sort of struggles to get into the game. Now, they don't all know that this is happening. They don't have that vision, but that is sort of the way it's shaping up, as Yellow is taking the lead now. And White really needs to do something about it, but they also need to become aware that they need to do something about it. So scouting is vital.
I was gonna say, would you want to? Was it safe to agree that you just maybe get an air factory and then send out 5 or 6 spy planes, or maybe just anti-air, and just start flying them around the different bases, just trying to checking? Because another thing that has been the general theme is tier 2 at 7 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. You need to get out of that scout. You need to check what's going on. You need to know if you are the isolated player, the one in between two opponents that could be attacked. Because if that is the case, you're caught with your pants down. An army of Bollos, an army of Orcas turn up on the doorstep. Could even be boombots. So really, you need to know. You absolutely need to know. Otherwise, you can take a huge hit in the early game that you just won't recover from.
Interesting little situation that's coming out of here. Now, if we look at the side with Jurist, where he had that there's the tier 2, called it. If we look at this kind of northern side where Jurist, whoop, God, that was caps, gosh, I wanted to ping. There we go. The side with Jurist, he does have some walls going up, but he seems to kind of just say, forget it, I'll just go naval. But on the other side here, we do see a very strong wall in coming in, and Yellow is just everywhere. I mean, the White team just seems to be floundering. They don't seem to really know what to do.
Yeah, White did, that's why I made such an issue of it before, when Urist was originally building up his naval force, while the other White players sort of expanded a bit onto the land and also tentatively in the naval a little bit on the opposite side. It was such a big deal back then, because it's now created a situation where Yellow has, they have that one player building up this huge naval force, while they have another player building up some land and some naval, and then the last player building up the naval, sending it to Jurist. It's kind of a bad mismatch,
Yeah.
If you're going to assign rules to players when they spawn on this map, then the scouting cannot be overstated, because if you don't know what your situation is, if you don't know that you're the isolated player, or what your relative position is, or what your opponents are going, then you could end up trying to do something like Jurist has done, where you try to go with tier 2 naval, and then get smashed by it's backfired completely, because he's getting smashed between this giant tank force and this Orca force. He was not the player to build the T2 naval in this game. It perhaps would have been better on the other White player that they're not attacking.
Right. I think it's just safe to say that White's kind of dead. They do have this sort of stronghold here at the sort of southern end of the planet, and really they're boxed in on their northern little area. I mean, there's yellow, there's just yellow everywhere, and really there's no way they're going to be able to safely get this kind of commander that's caught in between a legitimate rock, a naval, and a really hard place. So if they want to try and make something happen here, they might just need to get a teleporter for him just to get him out of there. And then maybe they can try and go for some of this economy here at Temple and just say, forget the water. We'll just go maybe into orbital, maybe go into, we'll cast the final match with you. Okay. Apparently we got a message from Elite about something, but that's besides the point. I think they just need to kind of back up, reevaluate what they're doing, just kind of not go near this puddle, and then
definitely
start again.
Everything you've said I agree with, and I think the best decision for White by far would be to sort of say, okay, we've lost the naval, this is bad, but if we're going to have any realistic hope of winning,
but this commander is gonna eat it.
Oh, first casualty of the game. And who was it that we lost? Let's see if we can work it out.
It was
amongst
Jurist.
The wreckage. Let me sift through it.
It was Jurist.
Oh, alas, poor Jurist.
Good night. Having a good day, Jurist. Oh, the BM. Oh my goodness. The banter
BM
begins.
comes out from Nick.
Oh,
How
Nick.
will G0hst respond?
I don't think he should. I want him to take the moral victory here. He might have lost the match, but if he can take the moral victory, then I want to say they won.
What? Have you met G0hst? That's never gonna happen.
I know, but still, I want to believe, man. I want to believe.
So, again, back at the plot, you know, exactly as you said, Yellow is everywhere. They're dominating the naval. They're also dominating the land, which, if they get into this position where not only are they winning on one front, but also the others, that really is the worst indicator of a GG coming up. You know? It really is at this point. White really is kind of on their last legs. This is double elimination. It's the second time we've casted for these guys, and unfortunately, this may be the last time that we see them.
Ooh, well, let's see if they can pull some miracles out now. White starting to, well, White really not starting anything. I wanted to say they are trying to...
No, we see Commander reclaiming trees here.
Tree economy!
Yep, just trying to tree economy back up to replace that missing commander. Get back in the game.
Trying. They're going to try and fight till the bitter end, but I don't think they really have a chance. They do have some tanks that did clear up quite a few metal extractors on the inside of the temple, but they have nothing. Oh. I think it's safe to say they can
Interesting.
They might be...
Interesting that Yellow wants to pause.
Froze up. Ah. There we
I
go.
mean, I would go so far as to say this is a tournament. It's obviously there's cash prize on the line, but despite that, I would go so far as to say, Yellow really didn't need to pause that. They could probably win this game with just the two players.
Maybe they're thinking White's got some orbital tricks up their sleeve, but at the same time they have a deep space, so that's probably not an idea.
That would be fantastic to see. Just the nuke launches from inside the temple all of a sudden, and Yellow knows they fucked up.
Yeah. Suddenly, with the force of true freedom and friendship, a White nuclear missile flies at all of the commanders and kills them all, and that's when White knew they did it.
So let's just pan across the planet for a second, and I really think the situation speaks for itself. You know, there is no
there's no White
in the water.
There's just no White.
There is no White. Exactly. It's one of the most racist games ever.
I would say equal, but or more diverse. I think that's the right word. But either way,
be accurate.
Avoiding the trap conversations.
Getting away from that quagmire.
It looks like a commander is trying to run into the water because there are no naval in that little puddle. That might be the safest spot from a boombot even trying to get in on that action, but a nice Uber shot will not be.
Second casualty of the game.
Yep. And there he goes.
Nice.
So, as the story goes, then there was one mass air coming out. Oddly enough, maybe gonna try and pull off a miracle, but
three bomber snipes in a row. I mean, if he pulls this off, I think he won the tournament, no matter what happens.
Yeah. And he didn't respond to the BM, so I think if he can pull that off, then he will be my new hero, and, I don't know, first round on me or something.
You realize that you're talking about Nosebreaker here? Of all people, this is actually Nosebreaker, the one true hero left alive.
The one true hero.
I mean, yeah, it's entirely possible he may well succeed, but if he's going to become your hero based off that, I think it may be better that he fails.
he's the hero that that White needs, but it's also the hero that they don't want. So,
not the hero they deserve, not the hero they need, but the hero they never wanted.
Fantastic. Excuse me.
Amazing.
Yellow now moving out to apply the final nail in the coffin, and I don't really know why they're just not saying GG. I mean, it's quite clear that they're not going to be able to pull a miracle off here. They're even using the YOLO bombers that they did build as defensive bombers now, so not even really wanting to try and pressure any of the commanders, and really, they couldn't even if they wanted to. There's just, well, actually these are all bombers, so they could, but they would have to know exactly where that commander is, and trying to do that would be just as hard as trying to fight into air units that really there's just numerically way more than them, so not the best decision.
I mean, I'm just going to point out here that I'm panning everywhere around looking for maybe that sneaky nuclear missile, maybe a Hawkins, something, you know, something flashy, maybe something that Yellow has planned and stored up, but they're only just starting work on T2 now.
Nah, they don't need
it. As
it.
well as orbital. Oh, and there goes the GGs.
Yeah, I was going to say, they don't need it.
So Nosebreaker, while building up his bomber snipe, is unfortunately bomber sniped in turn, and that really is the weakness. I mean, you know, you get so focused on what you're doing, and you have no resources and no.
The greatest weakness to
and
Nosebreaker.
Then you get blown up by bombers.
The greatest weakness is himself.
Oh, the BM, have some napkins, Nosebreaker. Alpha. Oh, the BM taunts.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. And these players just BM flying left and right, you know, volleys.
I left. I knew it wasn't going to be pretty, so I left. It wasn't worth it.
So let's get the man himself, you know, the moderator, the legend, Nosebreaker in here for an interview.
Alright.
Assuming we can find him. He seems to have decided, you know what, I'm not being interviewed by these guys, I'm done.
I was gonna say, he's probably gonna leave and get some of those napkins, because he might be just a little teary-eyed after getting bomber sniped.
Ah, there he is.
Oh, speaking of
So,
the
Nosebreaker. So, I mean, like, looking back at that game in retrospect, we were talking at the start of the game maybe for a bit too long about sort of map strategy. We missed a bit of the start of the game. But the solo yellow player basically did exactly what you said, and what I sort of agreed is probably what they should do. They walled up really well, they turtled super hard. You know, they defended, and then when the time came, they decided, right, time to push out, you know, time to just smash everything, and we saw the results. Yellow just steamrolled.
So Nosebreaker couldn't show up, could he?
I think he's gone for napkins. I've heard no reply from him. So we'll have to get G0hst in here.
Oh, that's alright, I'll take that. It says 9-second delay. I don't know how it's at 5 minutes. Goodness gracious.
5 minute delay.
Apparently earlier it's saying it's 5 minutes. I'm like, dang, bruh. It might just be because of the upload speed, because I am running off of not my wall jack, so...
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. It's 4 in the morning. This is the best you're gonna get out of me. I'm sorry. Filthy casual. What do you expect?
Yeah. Well, G0hst, actually, first guy of the day to decline the interview. The BM has wounded him deeply.
Wow.
You know, not prepared to come on stream, not prepared to stand his ground and say, hey, you guys may have BM'd me, but you know, in the next Lord's Annual, I'm going to bring it back.
The next Lord's Annual. Oh God. Please change the time.
At 4 AM. So G0hst informs me that Nosebreaker has destroyed his monitor. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use my amazing joke on the losers themselves. Perhaps it was too cruel. We're actually going to have to get the winners in here.
I think that might be a safer decision. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just send a message to who do we want? Do we want Nick, Smithforce, Alpha? Should we just bring them all?
Let's just bring them all. Heck, let's just get every single one of their opinions. I mean, they did fantastically as a group, and I would like to find out which of the 3 were the ones, or was the one that was kind of in that awkward position of having two enemies. Oh, speaking of the
we
doubles.
also Nosebreaker himself has repaired his monitor after the smashing defeat. Nosebreaker, would you say that you've ghost put on the glasses?
I need to go get them. It's
Definitely.
too late.
Okay, fine. Nosebreaker, would you say that you were burned in that last game?
Oh, we were smashed, and I guess because we won't be winning this competition, the power will go out on my house when I don't receive that winnings. So
this is true.
It's going to be a very
Nosebreaker,
dark house tonight.
I didn't mention it, but you know, Nosebreaker fighting for not only the power of his house, which you know he needs to pay his bills, but also his family. You know, his poor widowed wife after he takes his own life. It's a tragic tale, but you can still win it in the next Lord's Annual when it comes around a second time. Nosebreaker, would you say you're prepared for that?
I would hope that we're prepared better. It was a pretty exciting match show, and all the guys played pretty well. What do you think?
So, in your opinion, what would you say went wrong? Like, what do you think you guys did or didn't do that didn't match up so well to sort of the yellow team strategy?
Basically, I think we just suck and they rock. And suck versus rock is always a bad mix. So
That's true. You should have went with
what do you
paper.
do?
I mean, if you consider like the paper strategy, so like paper enfolds rock, then you might have had a really good chance.
Definitely.
I don't think we considered anything. I know the Nosebreaker did a lot of thinking, but it didn't amount to much.
Did you try water?
I don't know really. I sort of went out and checked the TV a bit and see what was going on with the missus, and had some dinner, came back, and game was over.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you have it. So basically, Nosebreaker abandoning his team to get his napkins. at the start of the game, and then actually chowing down during the game itself. Eurus putting up a heroic defense, the last stand. Nosebreaker, meanwhile, enjoying a nice tasty lunch.
Let's clarify that was the Nosebreaker with the last stand.
That was you.
The Nosebreaker.
Okay.
Let me just remind everyone that this is an unofficial mod of the forums. He's not a man to be messed with. Nosebreaker will ban you willy-nilly. He has the power. He can do it anytime he wants. Sorry, the Nosebreaker. Let me
Well done.
please.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So mercy, please. No disrespect intended.
Just need to apologise to Alpha because I told him they'd be losing, and I said some pretty nasty shit
Whoops.
to him.
Just ban him. Just ban him. From
Just
the
ban him.
forums.
Yeah, that's usually easier.
Yeah.
I'll start with the right-click mute, I think. What do you think?
That usually works.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our opinions of the match when we kind of looked, we looked at it. My opinion of that whole map is that the spawns are maybe a little bit messed up. You need to know about them in advance. Otherwise, you will find yourself in a very bad situation if you're the solo player. Beyond that, it's kind of an issue of that solo player who is on his own must find out that he's on his own and then has to turtle up really hard as a necessity to survive into the mid game, to really help his team keep his commander going.
Absolutely. If you have a look at the replay, I was the centre guy that was trying to turtle between the two on the right, and Eurus was supposed to push on the centre guy, but we had a little bit of technical difficulties in the beginning, and the expansion wasn't so good on the metal side. Didn't allow for many units to come out. They pressed really hard, took out our T2 naval factories, and it sort of rolled downhill from there.
Yeah,
Is what it is at the end of the day. They played excellently against us, and the strats rocked.
It was a good match. I mean, notable mention the yellow player who was solo on his own. He turtled up very, very well, very hard. And when the time came, he did push out with devastating force, finishing off Eurus, pushing down that side. Did a lot of damage. So those guys really showed a good match.
If you're talking about the guy on the left, the mission and objective was never to strike him, but the centre guy. If you're talking about the guy between me and Eurus, definitely did really well, didn't he?
Yeah. See, I think he anticipated a strike that sort of never came. So that put him on the back heel, you had him off balance, but then you never really kind of did anything with it. He's there turtling, he's hiding behind a shell, and then he's kind of peeking his head out. He sees that no one's coming, and he decides, all right, well, I'm going to attack them, because they're not actually pressuring me at all.
We were banking on the T2 naval to come out, so we weren't going all out attack. You can see straight away I went straight turtle up in the top, and the bottom two boys were focusing on getting that T2 out, but they all entered naval, and we had scouted them out as they entered, and Eurus was calling off the numbers as they entered the sea. That's why you saw my commander enter the sea as well, to try to buy some time for that T2 to come up. But the beautiful thing about PA is you can have all these ideas of how you're going to win, and at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, if you don't, you don't.
It's true. I mean, when that actually happened and we saw the T2 factory go down, we knew it was a devastating loss. And I honestly believe if that had have went up, you had been able to claim T2 early in the game, you would have won. At the very least, you would have won the naval battle. It would have been extremely difficult for them to push out Leviathans and Krakens and, all of this good stuff with the T2 economy. Maybe next time consider if Eurus is being put under a lot of pressure himself on the opposite side of the sea. If when you end at the sea, you can build up the T2 on the other side of the map,
Yeah, absolutely. But then that exposes the T2 between the two opposing players. And if the last time we played this match, the centre player and me got crushed by those two people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they hit us hard and they hit us fast. They hit us effectively. They were well coordinated. They spoke well. They obviously communicated well. It felt very pressured, definitely from our side. So they played an outstanding game against us and they smashed us. That's all I've got to say.
Ghost had a fantastic comment, and at one point I urged him to sort of look at the map and just see the situation because it spoke for itself. And he just responded with, yellow is everywhere and there is no white. There is no white presence anywhere on the map left. So, like you say, they put up a good fight. So, Ghost, did you have any questions or comments?
Get in here.
Could I add one last thing?
Sure.
Oh yeah, of course, go ahead.
Yeah, Alpha, you suck cock. Goodbye.
And that, ladies and gents, is the Nosebreaker himself, the man, the legend, the forum mod.